Please like and subscribe. All proceeds support animals in need. Thank you for watching. Most people do not really want freedom, because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. The goal of all life is death. The ego is not master in its own house. The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain, playing in the sun, and falling back into the great subterranean pool of subconscious, from which it rises. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. In the small matters, trust the mind; in the large ones, the heart. The first indication of stupidity is a complete lack of shame. We choose not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exists in our subconscious. Who lacks sex, speaks about sex; hungry, talks about food; a person who has no money, about money; and our oligarchs and bankers talk about morality. We enter the world with loneliness, and lonely leave it. Maturity is the ability to postpone gratification. History is just new people making old mistakes. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. The mind is like an iceberg; it floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. Love and work. Work and love, that's all there is. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. No mortal can keep a secret. If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips; betrayal oozes out of him at every pore. Civilization began the first time an angry person cast a word instead of a rock. If youth knew, if age could. I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? Dreams are often most profound when they seem the most crazy. Neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. Men are more moral than they think, and far more immoral than they can imagine. The voice of the intellect is a soft one, but it does not rest until it has gained a hearing. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The tendency to aggression is an innate, independent, instinctual disposition in man. It constitutes the powerful obstacle to culture. The interpretation of dreams is the royal road to a knowledge of the unconscious activities of the mind. It is impossible to overlook the extent to which civilization is built upon a renunciation of instinct. We are never so defenseless against suffering as when we love. Children are completely egoistic; they feel their needs intensely, and strive ruthlessly to satisfy them. Just as no one can be forced into belief, so no one can be forced into unbelief. The doctor should be opaque to his patients, and, like a mirror, should show them nothing but what is shown to him. Religion is an illusion, and it derives its strength from the fact that it falls in with our instinctual desires. The liberty of the individual is no gift of civilization. It was greatest before there was any civilization. Every normal person, in fact, is only normal on the average. His ego approximates to that of the psychotic in some part or other, and to a greater or lesser extent. Opposition is not necessarily enmity, it is merely misused and made an occasion for enmity. What a distressing contrast there is between the radiant intelligence of the child and the feeble mentality of the average adult. The act of birth is the first experience of anxiety, and thus, the source and prototype of the affect of anxiety. Men are strong so long as they represent a strong idea, they become powerless when they oppose it. The first requisite of civilization is that of justice. A belligerent state permits itself every such misdeed, every such act of violence, as would disgrace the individual. Analysis does not set out to make pathological reactions impossible, but to give the patient's ego freedom to decide one way or another. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive, and will come forth later, in uglier ways. Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or the deepest despair. How bold one gets when one is sure of being loved. Thought is action in rehearsal. The scope of one's personality is defined by the magnitude of that problem which is capable of driving a person out of his wits. Friendship is the art of keeping distance, while love is an art of intimacy. All family life is organized around the most damaged person in it.